They restrained the disabled woman's wheelchair, forcing her to witness the brutal beating of her devoted service dog. The animal, who understood every unspoken emotion she carried, cried out in pain as boots struck his ribs. The men laughed, convinced their wealth would erase any consequences. What they never expected was the man running through the park that afternoon, a man trained for war, a Navy SEAL, who was about to make them regret every second of cruelty. The savannah heat wrapped around Forsyth Park like a wet blanket. At 4 in the afternoon, sunlight filtered through ancient oak trees draped in Spanish moss, painting the paths and shifting shadows. Near the white fountain, Iris Parker sat in her customized wheelchair, sketchbook resting on a fitted lap desk. Her canvas captured water and light with remarkable detail. In her late 20s, with sharp dark eyes and hair tied back against the humidity, Iris was an artist gaining recognition in local galleries. 3 years earlier, a drunk driver had taken the use of her legs. What remained was sharpened focus, her hands steady, her vision precise. Her wheelchair was not a limitation, it was simply part of her movement through the world. At her side lay Valor, a powerful German shepherd with a gleaming black and tan coat. He wasn't just a companion, he was her trained service dog, alert even while resting. His vest was off, but his instincts never slept. Iris paused her painting and smiled, scratching behind his ear. "Too hot today, huh?" she whispered. Valor's tail thumped softly. The calm shattered when a metallic blue convertible screeched to a halt near the park. Music blasted, tearing through the peaceful air. 3 young men climbed out, laughing loudly. Expensive clothes, careless confidence. The leader, Preston Davenport IV, moved with entitlement inherited from generations of power. His friends, Chad and Brody, followed like shadows. Their eyes locked onto Iris. "Look at that dog," Preston said loudly. "Think it bites." Chad tossed a twig toward Valor. "Fetch." Valor didn't move. Instead, he rose and positioned himself between Iris and the men, silent but firm. "He's a service animal," Iris said clearly. "Please leave us alone." The men laughed. Preston stepped closer, mocking her words. When Iris stood her ground, his smile vanished. Insulted, angry, and unused to resistance, he flicked his flask cap into Valor's nose. The dog yelped. "Stop!" Iris shouted. Instead, Preston nodded to his friends. They grabbed her wheelchair. Panic surged through Iris as Chad and Brody locked her wheels in place. She struggled, her voice breaking as she demanded they let go. Valor reacted instantly, lunging forward with a deep warning bark, but he never reached them. Preston's kick landed hard against the dog's ribs. The sound was sickening. Valor collapsed, gasping. Iris screamed. Preston yanked her hair back, forcing her to watch. Then he slapped her, sharp, loud, humiliating. Tears filled her eyes as he whispered threats, making her watch while Brody hesitated, then kicked the wounded dog again. 200 yards away, Hugo Scott was finishing his run. He wasn't listening to music. He never did. Awareness was habit. When the sharp cry of a dog cut through the park, followed by a woman's desperate scream, his body reacted before his thoughts did. He changed direction instantly, sprinting across the grass. What he saw registered in seconds. 1 woman restrained, 1 dog being assaulted, 3 attackers. He didn't shout. Chad never felt the arms slide around his neck until the world started going dark. Hugo applied the choke precisely, 3 seconds, and Chad collapsed silently. Brody turned just in time to take a palm strike to the chest that knocked all the air from his lungs. He folded, choking soundlessly. 5 seconds. 2 men down. Preston spun around, horror replacing arrogance. The man standing before him was calm, breathing steady, eyes empty of mercy. "We were just joking," Preston stammered. "You joked?" Hugo said, stepping closer. Fear took over. Preston scrambled to gather his friends. Hugo ordered them out. They dragged Chad's unconscious body toward the car, fled in panic, tires screaming as they escaped. Silence fell hard over the park. Iris sobbed uncontrollably. Valor whimpered, trying to crawl toward her. Hugo stood still, fists clenched, then slowly exhaled. The violence drained from him as he turned, his focus softening. He approached carefully. "Is he friendly?" he asked. Iris nodded weakly. Hugo knelt, examining Valor with practiced precision. From his running pouch, he pulled a professional-grade medical kit. "Broken ribs," he said calmly. "But he's breathing." He wrapped the dog's chest with expert care, steady hands gentle and sure. Tears streamed down Iris's face, not from fear now but relief. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're safe." Hugo said quietly. They're gone. But his eyes hardened when he noticed the red mark on her cheek. They hit you. She nodded. And in that moment Hugo Scott decided this was no longer just intervention. Hugo carried Valor to Iris's van as if the 80-pound dog weighed nothing. He loaded him carefully, ensured the ramp was secured, and gave Iris instructions with calm authority. Before she left, he wrote his number on a piece of paper. If they come back, he said firmly, you call me? Anytime. That night at the vet confirmed the damage, 3 broken ribs, severe bruising. Iris paid the bill, then went straight to the police. What she received wasn't justice but dismissal. The officer's tone changed the moment she mentioned the Davenport name. Her report was filed and buried. Back in her studio, exhausted and shaken, Iris received a call. Arthur Harrison, Davenport family lawyer. His voice was smooth, threatening beneath polite words. They would cover the vet bills, if she signed an NDA. If she refused, they'd sue her, evict her, ruin her reputation. They already had witnesses ready to lie. When the call ended, Iris felt trapped. Her eyes fell on Hugo's number. She called. He arrived in 10 minutes. Without hesitation, Hugo secured her apartment, installing alarms, reinforcing doors. Then, unexpectedly, he ordered food. He made her eat. He listened. They won't take this from you, he said simply. The next morning, while Iris stepped out briefly, they struck. She returned to devastation. Paintings destroyed. Easels smashed. Her life's work ruined. On the wall, written in red spray paint. Next time it's the dog. Her call to Hugo was hollow, broken. He arrived fast. Surveyed the scene. Understood instantly. This is no longer safe, he said. We're leaving. He moved her to a motel, retrieved Valor, and prepared for what he knew was coming. They would return. And when Preston Davenport came back, thinking he was hunting prey, he walked into the dark. The studio was pitch black. Hugo waited in silence, every sense alert. Valor was hidden safely. When the door opened, 3 figures stepped inside, flashlights cutting through darkness. That was their mistake. One by one, Hugo neutralized them, silent, precise, unavoidable. Brody dropped first. Then Chad. Finally Preston. Lights snapped on. Preston screamed as his arm shattered under Hugo's grip. Zip ties bound all 3 men. Hugo made the call himself, reporting a break-in and assault. This time the right officer arrived. Evidence everywhere. No escape. Preston Davenport IV was arrested. By morning it was over. Back at the motel, Iris waited, Valor resting nearby. Hugo returned with a bandaged arm. It's done, he said. For the first time since the accident, Iris felt something unfamiliar. Safety. She explained nothing. She simply reached out and took his hand. Hugo stayed. And the men who believed money made them untouchable learned a truth they would never forget. Some protectors don't wear badges. They run silently through the park and they never tolerate cruelty.